How far will you go for your dog? I was throwing tennis balls for Luna, my 2-year-old husky, at Riverside Park when she suddenly collapsed. One second she was running full speed, the next she was convulsing on the ground with foam coming out of her mouth. I screamed for help while people just stood there staring. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial 911 as Luna's eyes rolled back in her head. A woman jogging past yelled that her dog had the same thing happen last week and to get Luna to the emergency vet immediately. I scooped up all 55 pounds of her seizing body and ran to my car, breaking every traffic law getting to the animal hospital. The vet took one look and said it was poisoning. Probably rat poison based on the symptoms. They rushed her into surgery while I stood in the waiting room trying not to throw up. 3 hours later, Dr. Patel came out looking exhausted and said Luna would survive, but it was close. The bill was $8,300 for the emergency surgery, blood transfusions, and overnight monitoring. I put it on 3 different credit cards. Dr. Patel said this was the 6th dog this month with the same poisoning, all from the same park. She'd reported it to animal control and the police, but nothing had been done. The other 5 dogs hadn't made it. I felt sick thinking about Luna playing in that park every morning for the past year. How many times she could have eaten something terrible. When I asked if anyone knew how the poison was getting into the park, Dr. Patel said the theory was someone was deliberately leaving poisoned meat around, but there was no proof, just dead and dying dogs. I asked for the names of the other families who'd lost their pets. She couldn't give me that information due to privacy rules, but she said I wasn't alone in this nightmare. That should have been comforting, but instead made me furious. 6 families destroyed by some psychopath, and nobody was doing anything to stop it. I left the clinic with Luna barely conscious in the backseat and a payment plan that would take me 2 years to pay off. The next morning, I called the police non-emergency line to report what happened. The officer who answered sounded bored and said they were aware of the situation but couldn't investigate without evidence of criminal activity. I pointed out that poisoning dogs was criminal activity, and he said they needed proof of who was doing it, not just that it was happening. He suggested I contact animal control instead. Animal control told me they couldn't do anything without catching someone in the act. They'd increased patrols in the park but hadn't seen anything suspicious. The woman I spoke with, Diane, sounded genuinely sympathetic, but explained their department was understaffed and underfunded. She couldn't station someone at the park 24/7 waiting for a poisoner to show up. I asked about security cameras and she said the park didn't have any. Budget cuts had eliminated most public safety measures over the past few years. I hung up feeling completely helpless and furious that Luna had almost died, and nobody seemed to care enough to actually do something. I spent that afternoon on social media looking for other victims. I found a Facebook group called Riverside Park Dog Owners, with over 300 members. I posted about Luna and within an hour had responses from 4 families whose dogs had died from poisoning in the past 6 weeks. Their stories were identical to mine. Dogs suddenly collapsing during normal walks, emergency vet visits, massive bills, and deaths. One woman named Clarissa had lost her golden retriever Bailey just 3 days ago. She'd spent $12,000 trying to save him, but he'd died anyway. Her post included photos of Bailey as a puppy and the heartbroken face of her 6-year-old daughter at his grave. Another man, Dennis, had lost 2 dogs in the same incident when both ate poisoned meat during an evening walk. He'd filed police reports, contacted the mayor's office, and even hired a lawyer, but nothing had come of it. The legal system treated pet deaths as property damage, he explained, with maximum damages capped at the dog